If you're waiting for a boss, a deadline, or an alarm clock to force you into working, the richest man in ancient history said that's exactly why you'll stay poor. Here's the line he actually wrote: "A lazy hand leads to poverty. A diligent hand brings wealth." Simple on the surface, but the observation underneath it is the one most people avoid. The gap between poverty and prosperity rarely comes down to luck. It comes down to who shows up and acts while everyone else is still waiting for the right moment. His name was Solomon, king of Israel in the 10th century BCE, and what survives of his thinking on money boils down to about 4 rules, and the 4th one directly contradicts almost everything modern self-help tells you about getting rich fast. The first rule is the one we just heard: work without needing to be told.
Solomon points to the ant as proof, a creature with no boss, no supervisor, no deadline hanging over it, that still gathers its supplies all summer because it knows what's coming. It's one of the most quoted lines in the entire book because it draws a sharp line between discipline that requires outside enforcement and discipline that doesn't. Only one of those two actually holds up over decades. Rule 2 is about speed, and this is where Solomon starts sounding less like an ancient king and more like someone who's watched a financial collapse happen in real time and is trying to warn the next generation before it happens to them too. Those in a hurry to get rich, he wrote, will not go unpunished.
He paired that warning with a second one. Don't put your trust in riches themselves. Don't treat money as the foundation your security rests on, because money can be lost as easily as it was gained. Put those 2 lines together and you get the actual anatomy of almost every financial collapse, ancient or modern. Someone gets a bit of money, gets impatient, and starts treating it like it's already more than it is, spending ahead of it, betting on it, building on top of it before it's actually solid. It works for a while, so it feels safe. Then the moment it stops working, it stops fast, and there's nothing underneath to catch the fall. That's the trap Solomon was pointing at. Rule 3 shifts the question. It's not about how much money you have, it's about how you got it. A little income gained honestly, he wrote, beats a large income gained through injustice.
And he doesn't leave that abstract. He goes specific, straight into the mechanics of commerce in his own city. Dishonest scales, rigging the measurements so a customer pays for more than they actually received, he calls detestable, one of the strongest words he uses anywhere in the text. Accurate weights, on the other hand, are something to be honored. In a trading city where a deal was sealed on someone's word and there was no regulator checking anyone's math, that wasn't a moral flourish tacked onto a business lesson. It was the entire business model. A merchant caught rigging his scales once didn't just lose that one sale. He lost the market. Nobody trades with a merchant they can't trust to measure fairly, and word travels fast in a small trading city. That mechanism hasn't changed in 3,000 years. It's just changed its name.
Today, it's a 1-star review that never comes off the page. A brand that gets quietly dropped the moment a cheaper, equally trustworthy option shows up. The math is different. The consequence is identical. And now the rule that breaks the pattern. The first 3 sound like exactly the kind of sensible, disciplined advice you'd expect from a wise, wealthy king. Work hard, don't rush, stay honest. The 4th one is the one that would get Solomon laughed off a modern finance podcast, because he's not arguing for maximizing your income at all. He's arguing against making that the goal in the first place. Getting wisdom is better than gold, he wrote, because wisdom produces income again and again, while gold can only be spent once. Read that twice, because it's doing more work than it looks like.
He's not being poetic here. He's describing, in one sentence, the exact difference between an asset and its output. Gold is a static pile. Once you spend it, it's gone, and the only way to get more is to go earn or find more from scratch. Wisdom, skill, judgment, the ability to make good decisions repeatedly, keeps generating value on its own, indefinitely, without ever being used up. That's the entire logic behind index funds, businesses, intellectual property, and every other form of compounding return that modern investors spend careers learning to understand.
Solomon wrote the same idea down before anyone had invented the word asset to describe it. So that's the 4 rules, and on their own they hold up: diligence, patience, honesty, and the idea that wisdom outlasts money.
But before you go build your whole approach to money around them, there's something worth sitting with, because these rules didn't come from nowhere. Everyone in this story already had something: a kingdom, a shop, customers walking through the door. So work hard and you'll get rich is only half true. Plenty of people work like that ant for decades and stay poor anyway, because the problem was never effort, it was access to education, to starting capital, to health, or just the luck of where they were born. None of that makes the rule wrong. It just means it's less about getting rich from nothing and more about not losing what you've already managed to build. The speed warning has the same blind spot. Ignore it and gamble your savings on a hyped-up coin, and it'll ruin you exactly the way it warns.
But use it to talk yourself out of a real opportunity, a career change, a new skill, starting something before you feel ready, and it becomes an excuse instead of wisdom. Not everything fast is reckless. Sometimes it's just progress, and fear is the one borrowing the ancient warning to slow you down. However, none of that erases what's actually useful here. These 4 ideas didn't survive for 3,000 years because they're a guaranteed formula. They survived because, applied to what you actually have and where you actually are, they still work. So here's the one thing to actually do with all 4 of these rules tonight, not eventually. Pick one task you've been waiting for a deadline, a boss, or someone else's permission to force you into, and do it today, right now, with absolutely no one checking. Not tomorrow's version of that task. Today's.
That single habit, repeated without needing supervision, is the one this text singled out 3,000 years ago as the actual dividing line between staying where you are and everything that comes after it. The silver is gone. The kingdom is gone. Even the fortune, whatever it actually was, is long gone, turned to dust like every other fortune from that era. What survived were the principles. And apparently, some ideas are just harder to bury than wealth itself.